Okay.
Hi, good evening.
Hello, sir. Good evening. How are you?
How are you?
I'm good. I'm good.
Right. So you are in Bhopal now? Right.
Yeah, right now at Bhopal.
Okay. How's the monsoon conditions there? Raining or?
Last 2 3 days it is raining.
Okay.
Anyway, it will be here only for maybe some 20 days more.
Okay. Right. Anyway, it's city of lakes. Beautiful place.
Thank you. We are staying considerably around 30 kilometers away from the city.
SPA is far away from the city, right?
Yeah, really in the outskirts.
Right.
It's a village again called Bauri, so we say SPA Bauri.
Right. Yeah. But Bhopal is a fantastic place. As such, right?
Okay. Have you been here before?
Yeah, many times, many times. From younger days onwards, many times we have been there. So my
Okay.
younger schooling and all went very close to nearby location, Gwalior. So,
Oh, great.
so we used to
Okay.
commute that way. So,
All right. Okay.
as of now, everything will be online, right?
Yeah, everything is online. Studios,
Mm,
theories, everything is online.
okay. So, what about their practical sessions and all?
We have no other options. I mean, as there is no such practical session as such which
Mm,
we do. These are studio sessions.
Studio sessions, right?
Goes to the 60% of the credit goes for studio sessions, but that is done online
Okay, okay,
only.
okay. Mm-hmm.
They are these are group works. Studio works as a class as a whole group, and whatever the marks are given to the entire studio goes to the entire class. So there are like 20 students in a batch.
Okay.
Now the numbers have increased. In your urban planning, we have 36.
Okay.
Transport planning, we have 25 that way.
Mm-hmm.
But we have no other option because we can't send students to the field. Actually, field visit is an important part which we are missing
Yes.
now.
No,
But
even
there
we
is
are
no
missing that.
yeah. So collecting data, interacting with people, that
Yes.
is completely gone. And even
Yes.
if we do it online, it is too biased.
Mm.
Because a few section who holds the mobile phone or internet access will respond to it. That problem is
Yeah.
anywhere there.
Mm-hmm.
So in that way, we are managing. One more semester is declared as online. I hope next semester onwards, coming semester onwards, it would be
Okay.
offline.
Mm-hmm. Right. Can you check whether you are able to do the presentation? Share the
Yeah, I
presentation.
want to say that only. Let me.
Right. Just check. I have given the permission, but
Yeah. Give me a moment.
right. No problem. Right.
Okay. Am I audible clearly?
Yeah, you are audible.
Okay.
Voice is good, right?
Okay.
Just check if your the presentation is getting uploaded.
Yeah. It's taking a moment to open it. Let me
Okay.
just.
Okay. Maybe file size might be a problem, right?
Yeah, sometimes it is.
Yeah.
Is it visible now?
Yeah, it's
Okay.
visible. Right.
Is it in full screen mode now?
No, it is in normal mode. It is not in presentation mode. Right. So
Yeah, now.
no, not yet. Maybe you'll have to go to that slideshow bar and.
No, that I tried here in the bottom, but I think sometimes this comes. I'll do one thing. Stop. Is it visible now?
Yes. Right.
Let me.
Yes.
Okay. I
So
think there is some problem. Let me try to.
yes, your screen is coming halfway only, I think.
Yeah. Is it
Yes,
full
yes,
view
yes.
now?
Now it is good. Now it is good. Right now.
Okay. All right.
So shall we start?
Yeah, we can go ahead.
Right. Okay. Sneha.
Sir.
Now start, yeah.
Okay.
Okay, okay. Go ahead.
Good evening, all, and welcome to Emerging Discourses in Geography webinar series. This is the 10th webinar in the series. As COVID-19 has completely curtailed the offline classes, this is an initiative of Department of Geography at Government College Chittoor, Palakkad, Kerala, to create research awareness among students through webinar series. This is one of the way to expose them the interdisciplinary research and also guide them for their higher studies and career opportunity. The webinar is organized on all Saturdays 5 to 6 p.m. with participants joining on Zoom platform and Facebook Live. The participants include students of UG/PG programs in geography, research scholars, faculty members, and professionals from across India. I would like to take this opportunity to welcome today's resource person for the webinar, Mr. Paulos N. Kuriakos, Assistant Professor, School of Planning and Architecture, Bhopal. I also take this opportunity to welcome all the faculty members and students of Geography Department, Government College Chittoor, and other geography departments in Kerala. I also welcome faculty members, professionals, research scholars, students who have joined from various parts of India. Let me also welcome those who have joined from various parts of India. I once again welcome each and everyone to this webinar. Let me now invite my friend, Ms. Archa, to introduce today's resource person to you. Thank you.
Good evening to one and all. Today we have our resource person, Mr. Paulos N. Kuriakos, Assistant Professor, Department of Urban and Regional Planning, School of Planning and Architecture, Bhopal. Mr. Paulos joined School of Planning and Architecture, Bhopal in 2011. He has more than 10 years of consultancy and teaching experience in the field of urban planning. His primary area of research includes transport policy, public transport, and low carbon mobility. He holds a postgraduate degree in geography from University of Kerala and earned another postgraduation in urban and regional planning from Center for Environmental Planning and Technology, Ahmedabad. He was awarded coveted Commonwealth Scholarship by Commonwealth Scholarship Commission, UK, to study Masters in Transport Planning from University of Leeds in 2013. So I kindly request our resource person, Mr. Paulos N. Kuriakos, to start the session. So please.
Okay. Thank you for the introduction. Thank you, Govindankudi sir, for giving me this opportunity. Let me check once again. Am I audible to all of you clearly?
Yeah, you are audible. Maybe 2 seconds if you can on your video, people can see you also. Right.
All right. Okay. Okay. It's on now. Yeah. So I think I have a small connection with Palakkad Chittoor College. Actually, I took my first admission there for my bachelor's. But when I got my admission in University College, I went and joined there because my brother was there. So I just went twice there. But still, I remember walking to the campus through that. I think Gulmohar trees are there connecting that college gate. So I have a small connection with the college. Thank you for the opportunity, and let us start with the session. So I'll be talking about a few aspects like external cost of urban transport and benefits of public transportation. The discussions about the change in public transport footfall due to pandemic, and the advantage of private vehicle registration and increase. Is there any increase? And the theory of nudge, some fun examples related to that, and the concept of mass, and some incentives related to or disincentives related to parking pricing and its impact on shared mobility. So like I mentioned earlier, so there are various types of costs that are involved in when we make a trip, when you are a commuter. So these are broadly divided into internal costs and external cost. So as we know, internal cost comes from our own pocket, the money that you pay for your ticket, the money that you pay for your fuel. If there is any accident, and the cost that you are bearing because of the accident, And if there is huge or a considerable noise and the pollution related to that, and if there is any damage happens to you as a commuter, that was all these goes into internal costs. And on the other side, we have external cost, and external costs are borne by other individuals, those who are not making trips, or society, or altogether environment as a whole. So many times when we talk about urban transport, it is the question of how far we can bring this external costs that are created due to the usage of private vehicles into the formal public transport platform, so that it doesn't affect environment, society much, and it is much more equitable as well. So as we all know that we have various benefits that comes due to the usage of public transport. It starts with, it actually helps communities financially, and public transport reduces air pollution because large number of people goes with a shared option, and that helps to reduce air pollution. It also increases fuel efficiency, and definitely congestion goes down. It saves money. It is affordable for the urban poor, and there is an equity side also. And the mobility options are also accessible for everybody. And actually, when there is a successful public transport system, it frees up time, so it is more safer for various vulnerable communities of the society. So in that way, there are various benefits associated with it. But when we take the case of pandemic, and when we look into some of the numbers, we have seen the numbers have suddenly fallen. Already public transport was crawling due to various issues like lack of fleet, lack of money investment, lack of various technology adoption. So various kind of things have affected public transportation. So here we can see that some of the major cities like Bangalore, Chennai, Delhi, it has considerably fallen, but it is slowly picking up. And on the other hand, these numbers comes from 2020, and those numbers are compared with the same periods of 2019. So the slowly two-wheelers and four-wheeler registrations are also picking up, and people are saying that there are safety issues of related to hygiene, social distancing, all those things forces people to go for low-cost options for finding their own individual mobility options. So it is actually going to touch or reach the similar levels of 2019 again. So that is the place where we have this opportunity to push public transport from the point of view of low carbon mobility. So here there is another study that was conducted by an agency in Kochi, Center for Public Policy. They have looked into various issues that are faced by public transport post COVID-19. So there are financial stresses, issues related with low patronage, issues related with lesser number of service availability, issues related with social distancing, hygiene, or issues related with that sort of mindset, and changes in fare. And all these issues are coming to public transport, and this challenge also needs to be faced by them or agencies that is providing public transport. Similarly, when we look into the overall travel behavior post 2019 situation, here we can see that there is a dependency that has gone down, reduction in travel demand. People are saying that there is always a reduction in travel demand because of the work from home provisions that is slowly getting changed, and more private vehicles are getting bought. NMT options are slowly getting improved in some of the cities, and shared options are also available. And people are believing that public transport will improve in a long term, but not that easily. Let me take you to after explaining the issues related with the public transport or need to the public transport, as we all know that as geographers, we must have definitely gone through these theories of behavior related theories, change theories. So this is an important theory related with behavior. You must have some of you must have already gone through it while you are doing your masters, or maybe in your B.Ed time at least. So we know that our behavior has a connection with the intention. Intentions are controlled by majorly three factors that includes attitude towards the behavior, subjective norms, and perceived behavioral control. So all these aspects decides our intention, and that leads to our behavior. If I got an example, for example, it is allegedly said that Margaret Thatcher once said, if you find a young person leaning onto the seat of a public transport, he is a failure because he would not buy a car and find his own mobility. So that creates a norm. It creates a mental situation or a mindset that pushes for certain kind of intentions to own a vehicle and then to buy a vehicle, and that is going to be his travel behavior. So in that way, it can be connected. So these behavior aspects comes into our discussions later. So I just introduced one of them. There are many other. So let me go to the main crux of today's discussion, that is nudge. So nudge actually refers to various aspects of choice architecture that actually tries to alter people's behavior in a predictable, positive way. But it does not forbid or control or stop anybody from significantly changing their economic incentives. So that is what is all about nudge. Nudge basically came as a kind of theoretical shape with the help of Richard Thaler. If you remember, I think it is in 2016 or in 18, he won the Nobel Prize for this. And it was used in various countries. Britain was one of them. Various prime ministers propagated this. And the nudge unit as a concept also came up. So basically, it actually helps to encourage or nudge people to make healthier lifestyle choices without being superbossed, without losing the freedom of choice. Many of the marketing agencies have you already used it. If I want you people to connect it to your life, the immediate one which I can connect is those who have tried to book senior citizens ticket in IRCTC. You must have seen a question asking, would you like to give up your subsidy fully, or I think 50% or 75%? In that way, there is a question that comes these days. And that is actually the nudging. It actually pushes people to give up that, so that the railway's financial condition gets improved. Because as you all know that, or you must have read, railway spending 1 rupee and receives very less amount for each of the 1 rupee that is spent. So it actually tries to help change people's behavior subtly without much alterations in their choices options. So there are so many such kind of things that are already happening around the world. So how actually nudge works? So nudge, like I mentioned earlier, we can incentivize people. Instead of punishing, you can incentivize it. The question is, for example, if you want to promote cashless transaction, the question is, do you want to punish them by putting a penalty, or otherwise, instead of that, can we provide an incentive? So, okay, if you use cashless transaction, you get certain rupees as cash back. So that kind of options. Or otherwise, the question is understanding the entire system and the mappings, the choices, options available in front of them. Or otherwise, to provide a kind of feedback to the user, so that a person who regularly use a particular kind of item or a kind of travel mode, he get to know what is the kind of cost implications, or maybe the environmental implications associated with it. So in that way, it contains incentives, the total mapping of the service informations to them, and feedbacks that are provided to them, all the choices options that is available to them. These are provided as messages or a kind of push, a slight push to them. So in that way, it helps them to take an informed choice. So let me take you through some of the fun examples. So here you can see that a fly sitting on the men's urinal. This picture is from an airport near Schiphol Airport near Amsterdam. So they found this a difficult situation where they were spending a lot of money in toilet cleaning. So they decided to look into the behavioral aspects behind men's using of toilet urinals. So they found that men really enjoys aiming, and then they decided to put a simple picture or a image of a fly in the toilet urinal. So here the result is given as 80% reduction in spills and an 8% saving of total budget for cleaning public transport, public toilet facilities in the airport. The next one, I think you must have seen this in Facebook or shares or such kind of things, or Instagram. one of the agency wanted to test how far people would use staircases. So they fixed pianos on the staircases and tested it. So there was much more people coming and using this. This also goes as an example of nudging, along with some physical interventions other than signages or messages or just notifications. A third one comes from Norway again, Sweden again. This comes from a kind of speed camera lottery. This works where you have a kind of 30 kilometer is the maximum speed that you can adopt. Many of the European countries have gone to such a low level of maximum speeding that is possible. And whoever crosses the 30-minute gets fined. But on the other side, there is a lottery system for those who are not crossing the limit. And when the lottery is taken, those who are not violating the speeding regulations will get the lottery. So these are some of the fun examples that I have explained to make you understand. Like I mentioned earlier, IRCTC pushes you with a kind of push message that is given in your website, or otherwise this is from the point of view of an image or a signage. In various ways, with a little bit of design interventions or physical interventions, these kind of nudges can work. So having explained the situation of public transport, increasing vehicle ownership, and the behavioral aspects and nudge, how will we implement it in our condition? So there are the certain kind of concepts that is coming up from the point of view of mobility as a service. That means, as of now, if we take our cities, we can see that there are metro-related mobility applications available, or otherwise public transport, especially bus-related applications. There are other intercity and interstate bus registration or ticket booking facilities available, planning facilities available. All these things work individually. It doesn't come as a single package. In each of the case, you have to book tickets separately, you have to pay separately, you have to use interchanges, then there are no connections, there are integration issues as well. But mobility as a service concept work from the point of view of integrating all of these through a single app of all apps, for example. Let me take you an example of a situation which is already implemented. Vim in Helsinki is an example of an app that actually integrates parking, bicycle usage, other public transport facilities like tram, bus, etc. So this actually considered as one of the, Forbes magazine described it as the Netflix of transportation apps, because right now we see that the entire idea of watching a movie has gone to our living rooms with various OTT platforms coming. Such kind of changes coming in public transport also. So what is the use of such kind of facility in bringing behavioral nudges into our transport choice making and bringing people to public transport? So we know that there are various models of public transport that is conventionally available in front of us. There are metro rail facilities, there are BRTS facilities, which is available in some of Indian cities now. And there are new entrants, which is a kind of group called aggregators or e-hailing services, which actually comes from the point of view of aggregating taxis. Even the buses can be aggregated now. Cities like Bangalore, Hyderabad, Pune, Delhi, they have all tried bus aggregator models as well. We have Shuttle, Zipgo, etc. as bus aggregators. As we all know that we have Uber, Ola, all these services are available as cab services. But at the same time, there is a new method of public transport that is getting shaped, which is known as demand responsive public transport. Because as a car user, what they want is door-to-door connection. So how far such kind of facility can be provided from the point of view of public transport and make a change or make a shift in mode choice from private vehicle usage to public transport. So DRT tries for that. DRT functions with the help of a mobility app. Like I mentioned earlier, as of now, it is single entity. But the question here is, if we actually look into the situations of Kochi, if we look into the situations of Bangalore, for example, we have BMTS working in Bangalore, DTC in Delhi, or best buses in Mumbai. These are all are working as independent silos, conventional public transport options. Similarly, we have metro systems that has come, but it is not integrated again. The question is how far you can provide a seamless connection from your office or from your house to office and vice versa. So DRT offers that opportunity where you book your trip. There is no strict rule followed in terms of the route identification based on the algorithms that are available. Predictions are done based on the ground realities and ground demand, and then things are offered to the commuters. So the question here is how far we, as a, for example, even KSRTC for that matter, can independently survive that way. Because if we look into the latest regulation changes of motor vehicle amendment that has brought out in 2019, there are notifications that has come up recently that allows bus aggregators and cab aggregators to work within the city. The monopoly of conventional public transport systems are going to go. For example, if Redbus as an agency, if they wanted to aggregate buses and run buses in Trivandrum city, they can run, provided if State Department gives permission to that. But right now, as of now, the situation is such that, for example, states like Karnataka and Kerala has outrightly denied such kind of provisions. But I think it is a kind of win-win, a situation where we have to take the opportunity and reach a win-win situation between the public transport provision from the point of conventional public transport and bringing private modes into it. For example, in this trip aggregator guidelines, we have even a private car owner can register with the aggregator or e-hailing service provider platform and use that vehicle for bringing people to office or going back to home. Such kind of situations are there. So the question is how far these kind of things needs to get integrated from the point of view of a mobility app, and as much as possible, we can get into the shape of a mobility as a service concept, bringing these different models under single umbrella. So having said that, let me go to a section where we thought of conducting a study. How far is this screen visible to all of you clearly?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so we wanted to know, as we did not apply too much of statistics here, we just wanted to know what is the kind of acceptability, willingness to use such a facility. So we surveyed few people in Bangalore, and we have asked them, I mean, what all facilities would you like to get from the point of view of nudging, if we want to provide and understand their perception related to nudging and perception related to mass usage. So it gave various ideas. So we applied a Likert scale kind of rating mechanism and then tried to understand their perceptions related to that. They would like to get informations related to route choices available. They would like, excuse me, and they would also like to get various informations related to payment options. They would like to get information related to environmental friendliness of the choices that they are making, and various tailored options, for example, weather conditions. So the point that here I am making is, if we are really trying to improve the public transportation situations in our cities, it is time that we adopt various mechanisms that actually helps them to understand the implications of their trip making. What is the kind of negative externalities that I mentioned earlier that comes out of their trip making, and give choices at the same time and make them well informed about the decisions that they are making. So it could be about finance, it could be about routes, it could be about scheduling, it could be about the weather, it could be even about the last mile connectivity. So these are some of the responses which we have got. There were disagreements, there were acceptance. Disagreements mainly came up because as of now, definitely we know that the literate, there is always this question of how illiterate are our customers. Parallelly, when we have a situation where it's slowly improving, and if we have measures to improve it, this can be implemented as a package, which I mentioned earlier as a package, mobility as a service package, which can take people to, I mean, like, where can I park my two-wheeler if I am going with my two-wheeler? Where is my park and ride facility? Is there any parking lot available in that spot? How much should I pay? And how much time should I wait in that metro station after parking my two-wheeler? So there are certain notifications, there are certain messages, certain kind of information related to environmental externalities that can be passed to the user that can act as the nudge. So right now I spoke about various aspects related to public transport usage, how the nudge can be used, how mobility as a service can function from the point of view of bigger connected seamless travel options available. Right now there is always a question, is this the only thing available? How far we can push people to it? Okay, definitely we need physical improvements, as we all know that there are deficiencies in bus services. At least there should be 50 buses running for every 1 lakh population. That means around 500 buses for a million population. I think except Kochi and Bangalore, I don't think there is no city in our country as of now, unfortunately, as of now, meeting such kind of standards. And at the same time, reliability is a question. The tracking related informations are missing. So I'm talking about a situation where, yes, definitely there is a requirement of physical interventions, but at the same time, having soft policies related to incentivizing, related to informing, related to behavior modification is also important. Now, let me take you to a situation which we all must have faced in the past, which is about a kind of disincentive, which is a hidden subsidy which is given to personal mobility, which is known as parking. You know, in India, we have a feeling that parking is our birthright. Actually, if you actually go back to your room and Google about what happened in Lulu, there was a lady from Kottayam went against and filed a complaint against Lulu people, saying that they are charging for parking. In the contemporary terms, and similar cases are going on in 6 high courts of India: Gujarat, Madhya Pradesh, Telangana. There are even Delhi. So the question is, are we on the right track when we talk about that as a charge? Can we charge them? Yes, our current regulation may be saying that, okay, they cannot charge, but even the current regulation is not explicitly saying that they cannot charge. They can still charge. What happens if they do not charge? You know, one parking unit creation in Lulu must have costed something like 8 lakh rupees. A 30 square meter of stilt parking, underground parking, or a multi-level parking, a minimum of 8 lakh rupees must have costed. So now the question is, it is about the Lulu management, how to take back that money. Do we need to really pay it directly? Or should I take it through individual indirect mechanisms? How can I take it through indirect mechanisms? What is there to collect? It is the rent for the shops that they are letting out, the food plazas that they have. So what happens actually? It actually comes to a situation where there is no equity. Imagine there are two of your friends going to Lulu Mall. One person is going with public transport. Second person is going with a car. The person who goes with car is using the mall space, carpet area, plus around 30 square meters of parking space as well. But does he pay for it? If it is removed, he doesn't pay. Right now they are paying because they are allowed to collect it as per the High Court intervention. But imagine a situation where if it is not collected because of certain reasons, what happens? The money actually goes into the rent of building, the rent of food that is sold there, and actually it is actually punishing the public transport user. He did not use the parking space. He used only the mall space wherever that is necessary, and then he came back. But what is the equity issue over there? It is actually subsidizing the car user by taking money from, including the public transport user. So that is the situation where I am going to talk about parking, importance of parking pricing, and that as an economic incentivize or disincentivize, which we need to intervene. Most of the country, most of the cities in our country does not have a difference in intracity parking charges. they have a blanket parking that is applied without considering public transport accessibility or land use mixedness or such kind of facilities. So the study says that if you have a higher parking charge, which is applicable based on the demand, it actually pushes people to use shared mobility or transit. Let me take you to the importance of that. Like I mentioned earlier, it is not just the physical interventions that we do helps us, but at the same time, there are certain incentivizing, disincentivizing principles also needs to be implemented. There is a concept called average generalized cost for anything. So for example, when you make a trip, there are average generalized cost concept applied. For example, if you are a public transport user and you have a 50,000 salary, you convert your monetary income, monthly income to minute values and try to understand how much is the cost of your trip making from the point of view of average kilometer cost. Because public transport user has to walk from your home to bus stop. You have to wait there for some time. Then you take a ticket. Then you spend some time. Then you get down at a stop. Then you walk from there to your office space. When it comes to a private user, he straight away comes from home. His cost majorly comes was in vehicle cost plus fuel. And if there is no parking charge, it actually comes as a indirect subsidy or a hidden subsidy that is given to private car users. But at the same time, again, the public transport user is punished because large number of private vehicle accumulating on the road is going to slow down the public transport, and it is going to punish the public transport user in an indirect way. So when we look into these numbers here, you can see that this actually shows the peak hour percentage of people traveling for different trip purposes. You have work, you have educational purpose, business that is owned by them, or otherwise employers, social, recreation, etc., etc. Here we can see that close to 70% of the trip in some of the cities are made for work or otherwise educational trips. Let me ask you some of them. In the past 1 week, how many of you have paid parking charges at your workplace? Is there anybody? I guess no.
No, I don't think we have any workplace related parking charges still now.
Yeah, exactly. So that we enjoy because we feel that it should not be charged. And the current regulations are also kept in that way, saying that it has to be offered by public and semi-public institutions, be it a college, be it a hospital, and especially commercial, they are asked to definitely follow it. So that is the kind of regulations we have. That is the place where we have to work upon if you really want to push people, because parking doesn't come free of cost. Let me take you to various types of parking markets now. Here, if we take cities, we have various kinds of parking, right? We have on-street parking, we have on-street multi-level car parking, we have off-street surface parking. Various ownership differences are there. There are differences in user characteristics. Some of them are only for employees, some of them are for visitors, some of them are only for residents, and the land use characteristics also vary. This is the table below actually gives a situation which was calculated before the pandemic situation in Kochi. Here you can see that there are 4 types of travel options that is given here: diesel car plus metro, petrol car plus metro, diesel car alone, or petrol car alone. That means these 4 scenarios, 25 kilometers trips are made by using any of these options. Diesel car per metro means first 5 kilometers, that is the first mile connectivity, is by using the diesel car, and then the commuter traveled by metro. Next option is petrol car. Similarly, 5 kilometers by petrol car and metro. Then the last 2 options, directly they went from their home to office space, office location. So here you can see that the numbers, how the numbers vary. A person who actually depends on metro is actually punished by a parking charge that is charged at the metro location, that is close to 64 rupees. If you notice, parking charges FJ column. Is it clear?
Yeah.
Yeah, I hope it is clear. And the total goes to with parking charges, a person makes that 25-kilometer trip, he ends up paying 158 rupees. And petrol car user end up paying 164 rupees. But the person who uses diesel car directly to the work location or petrol car directly to the work location, almost half of it is paid, 73 and 96. Because at the workplace, we don't have to pay anything. Is it really a healthy situation? That is what we need to question. Even when you get other incentives and other financial incentives in the salary, so the question is, are we equipped enough to change this market scenario? There are countries in the world that has taken up this measure seriously. For example, Nottingham in UK, for example, as a municipal corporation, except residential areas, every other place you have to pay for your parking space. Why it is important? Like I mentioned earlier, it doesn't come free of cost. A surface parking area along with the land cost, it actually comes from a varied number of cases. So it will have difference. We may not be able to connect that way completely only to Kerala. But if you see the type of locations, that is peri-urban zone, intermediate zone, or city center, that is CBD, and typologies of parking, surface parking, still parking, or cellar or multi-level car parking, it varies. Like I mentioned earlier, a cellar or multi-level car parking goes with a cost of 10 lakh rupees for 30 square meter development. So now imagine how can you demand, how can you ask for a free parking? And on the top of that, it actually creates a facility for a certain section of the society from the point of view of hidden subsidy or an implicit subsidy, and the spiraling effect on the rent. Like I mentioned in the previous example, when you don't have a proper parking charging facility, I mean mechanism that is implied by the, give me a moment, I need to connect my charger. Okay, so it actually impacts in terms of the impact on cost of construction, rental values, and the entire model share that you have for a city. If you really would like to bring revenue also, there is an opportunity here. If we look into the table on the right side here, you can see that if we look into the percentage of owned revenue to the municipal corporations, it does not even reach 0.75% in most of the cities. But there are cities that is actually taking entire money from parking for developing public transport facilities and providing various other non-motorized transport or low carbon facilities. That actually goes in some of the cases up to 13%. So the point is, definitely parking is an important disincentive, which is a disincentivizing mechanism, or as a travel demand management mechanism, which we can use, which people to push to public transport. So with that, let me conclude here by saying that, okay, we have mechanisms in terms of physical interventions, that is in terms of providing buses, providing constructing metro viaducts, and adding various other infrastructure related to it. But there are other two important tools, which is first important one is looking into the behavioral side of users and bringing them or nudging them and having various campaigns, various plans from the point of view of soft policy implementation that can push people to public transport. And at the same time, we can play with various economic incentivization or disincentivization tools that that can also push people to public transport. So with that, I would stop here. Thank you.
Interesting, very short presentation, but fantastically explained, right? And now there are a few questions I think people have posted on the chat box. Shall I read it to you?
Yeah, please. I hope people could follow it. I don't know. I mean,
yeah,
I went a bit fast.
Right. No, that's okay. That's but people can now discuss. In case anyone wants to ask question, they can unmute and ask directly. right? So it will be really good that people can understand through discussion what it is all about, right? So one of the question that has been asked by Dr. Anita Nigam is, how effective is the nudge theory?
There are cases where it has totally failed, but I think we have to test it. In India, I would say that, for example, if you remember the way we have given up our subsidies, at least two cases we can quote here from the point of view of gas subsidy and for senior citizen subsidies, there were success. So in that way, these two are the successful example which can quote from India. But there are cases that has really helped in pushing sustainable urban transport in foreign countries.
Okay. Second question again from Dr. Anita is, what are some of the first examples of nudge theory?
So I
Maybe
think which I have explained already in my presentation from the point of view of one examples that I have shown, and the other two examples which I have already elaborated.
Right. So are there any examples in India that has been implemented successfully?
As of now, if we take for public transport, we haven't taken such kind of measures, but there is a slight kind of mobility as a concept. It is getting shaped. At least we can say that the cities like Mumbai and Kochi, right now they have come up with the idea of common mobility app. Kochi Metro is pushing for that. Recently, there was a discussion on that. Nandan Nilegani's firm is going to have a common mobility app on that. Similarly, Mumbai Metropolitan Development Authority has invited for public quotations for having a common mobility app for this and to integrate various aspects related to it. But I'm not sure are they going to have nudge related things, but at least there is going to have a common thing in which these kind of measures will definitely be a part of it.
Now, I think nudge theory can be applied even for place creations, right? Or space creations as such, which can change the outlook of a area and attract people. So something like for BRTS itself, it has to be attractive so that people can use it. So even places, use of places also it can be applied, right?
Completely. And there is a full, actually there are urban designers that dedicatedly work on the concept of place making. It is altogether known as place making. How to improve the spaces around the public transport and its impact on public transport ridership, so that it actually gives a feeling of safety. Many a times we don't encourage our kids to go to city with our public transport system because the first connection, that is our home to bus stop, is not provided. That is a safe footpath. How far that feeling of safety is not conveyed correctly. So improving that is an important factor, but at the same time conveying it to the people through various nudging mechanisms can have more impact on it. There are cities that has adopted travel ambassadors. They will have campaigns on radio, campaigns on other electronic medias and Facebook or social media. So slowly that kind of things can actually push the usage.
Yeah, right. But and then there are examples like RTVs being used in Delhi by Delhi Metro, that is rural transport vehicles. Na? But the thing is that people, okay, so some people tend to use it, but some people find it to be too uncomfortable to travel in a crowded bus kind of a condition, because of which they leave that. Right, and then they tend to travel by their own transport itself, right? So if that kind of a facility is improved, probably the use of this mass rapid transport system will increase, right?
Definitely. When we talk about, even though when we say that it is public transport, we have to understand that there are segments in it, and each of the segments behave differently because of their there is an aspect of class value attached to any of the things. So we have to have a detailed study on that. That's why it is important to have social scientist experts in these kind of teams, so that our proposals actually work on the ground.
Right. Right. I think Kochi Metro has been working with the Autowalas, the separate bus services, etc. Private bus services and all. So and it has been providing good result as such.
Yeah, Kochi. I mean, there is a journal paper also available. I don't remember who published it. It is a lady from CSE, Center for Environmental Science.
Okay.
She is trying to argue that Kochi is at least reaching close to an integrated situation where metro doesn't have an overlapping portion with the public transport, and at the end of public transport usage, you have different kinds of modes available for your last mile connectivity, and the decision making from the point of view of previously, I mean, even now it is not fully transferred. RTO decides where can you run your bus. I mean, if your bus has a route number, you cannot move that bus from that particular route and stoppages to a different route. And if you run in that way, if you change your route and if there is an accident happening, you won't get any insurance claim on it. So that is very stringently followed. So right now with the trip aggregator guidelines, everybody is demanding the bus route permissions should be city centric, not just route centric. So in that way, Kochi Metro is trying their level best to bring a kind of seamlessness.
Right. Now, is there any app that has been developed in India for integrating all these transportations, that is including last mile connectivity? You know how because sometimes someone will be traveling late night from office and getting down at somewhere. So how will such kind of people come to know? Because there is a lot of issue with regard to women's security and such kind of things. So are there any such kind of things that has been done in India?
At present, there is no single umbrella app available. There are individual apps from the point of view of women's safety. There are apps available. There are apps for public transport usage. We know that Kochi Metro has a public transport app available. Your ticketing can be made by using that. So all these are individual. Even BMTC has an individual app option, but Nama Metro has a different app option. It is not integrated. The payments are not integrated, even though past 7-8 years there are government working that is going on for a common mobility card for payments. Still it is not successful in that way. There are few more milestones to achieve.
Right. So if that last mile connectivity is clearly established with these apps, then can function better as such, right? That integrated mode will function better. Right?
Function that way, and that is the point where many of these definitely, public transport users, there is definitely a group of people that comes due to affordability issues. But when we look into potential users, they are car users, and they use mobile phones, they use other internet options in front of them. They have those kind of facilities. So it is easier for us to distribute correct schedules, the distance to your, if they are making this regular trip, we can nudge them by saying that, okay, if this is your carbon footprint, this is the cost of the trip, this is the kind of economic benefit that you can arrive out of it. So such kind of things can be done. So that possibility also comes along with the single mobility app.
Now, with COVID situation, the use of the public transport has been going down on a daily basis. And the first thing that you showed, the slide, the number of private vehicle purchasing and registration is going on the higher side. So doing all these kinds of nudge activities or applying this thing, how much effective it will be after all if such kind of situations arise in the future as well?
What I see in that way is definitely we have to have physical interventions. The number of buses has to improve. The amount of subsidies and support we give to our operators has to be re-looked upon, so that more number of buses can run with kind of social distancing and without much crowd. But at the same time, we have to educate our people. That is again the soft side of it. And improving the reliability factor has to be improved. So there are full circle of aspects that needs to be looked into. So I focused on two important aspects from the point of view of soft policies and economic incentivizing, and along with bus numbers only we can overcome this. Various class buses right now, for example, if you look into even during the time of pandemic, Tokyo Metro was running almost 80% capacity. If you people read about it, you will see that it is just because of the culture. The culture has helped them. I mean, they all were wearing masks, or at least major share of the populations was wearing masks even before the pandemic. They are not making any noise. They are. I have witnessed it. Wherever there is a noise, people would say that there is a group of Indians. So the point is how far we are educating our crowd or the commuter in terms of user behavior and having a protocol and conveying it again through soft policy mechanisms and campaigns, again through going back to what I said in terms of nudging, in a longer time can create a lot of impact.
Any more questions anyone would like to ask? Please go ahead and ask, unmute yourself and ask, because I have been engaging him because none of you have been asking questions, right? So I request you to all of you to unmute and ask questions. Okay, let me just get away from this topic and ask you something which will help students as well. Now,
Yes.
if someone decides to go for planning course and takes transportation as his specialization, right, after geography, right, if someone is going for planning course and taking this one, so what is the prospects after that? So where will he stand in terms of his career or in terms of higher education?
Okay. I understand that when it comes to doing a master's after sociology or economist or geography, you have to have a master's. I think all of you are aware of it. That is the minimum criteria. Many a times that acts as a hurdle, and we have also conducted a study on it. In the past 70 years, Kerala could produce only 8 social science planners in that way. But if you can spend 2 more years and money on it, I strongly believe there is a considerable job market available from the point of view of consultancy and working in the field of transport related or urban planning related research organizations. So for example, I remember seeing there was a call on economic geographer in WRI few years back, World Research Institution. So the things have changed. There are various agencies working in India in that way. ITDP is one of them. WRI has an office in Kochi also. German Technical Corporation, they have GIZ, they have agents, they are working with various agencies. The point is, there are clear-cut job market for transportation planning, especially from the point of view of statistical analysis, modeling, and if that particular student is good at a kind of data analytics, the window or the road gets widened much more from the point of view of data analytics these days. What I would advise is during the time of their course, along with the statistics, if they learn a bit of coding Python, the opportunities gets widened, because for example, softwares like Excel cannot handle a certain amount of data, but R does. For working in R, you have options of Python. So in that way, if you plan it in that way, there is definitely a great opportunity waiting after this long master after masters.
Right. And are there any institutions which exclusively specialize on transportation in higher studies, especially in India?
Right now, that is the point where I disagree on certain kind of things. We have masters in transportation engineering in NITs, IITs, and various so-called engineering institutions offers. And that is the place where we miss human geography side of it.
Okay.
Why people are not using Kochi Metro lies in the human geography side of it. We know that with all these projection statistics and civil engineering prospects we have constructed, we have touched only 60,000 or 70,000 ridership. That was the highest per day ridership we touched. But why we are not using GETS in our domain, or otherwise econometrics domain, even the sociologist domain, even in the process, many of those kind of things comes, but it is handled by civil engineers or transportation engineers. When we look into transportation planning as a subject, there are 3 institutions actually accepts social scientists. That is only SPS. That is SPA Delhi, SPA Bhopal, and SPA Vijayawada, and along with CEPT. CEPT also accepts social science students. Or otherwise, we can say that wherever there is transportation planning M-Plan course, they accept it. That is available in ITPI website. But I think slowly that is also getting changed. For example, TIS has courses on transport and sustainability. So even with bachelor's, you can join, if I am not wrong, or otherwise a bit of 2 years of experience. I may have to check it correctly, but the courses are there. But these institutions, at least these 4 institutions, they clearly accept motivated geographers or economists or sociologists.
Yes, some of my students have been no, very recently they have joined. So it is, I think,
Okay.
3 or 4 of them have joined from Kerala itself. So they can join
I think
after
the advantage is because you don't have
graduation.
to do a masters to do their masters.
Yeah,
Isn't
right.
it? Yeah.
No, actually, after graduation they can join, but it's kind of a post graduation only that they are doing there. So,
Okay.
Normally it gets accepted. Only thing is that they cannot come back to geography again because if they want to go and build a career path.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that
I think
traditional,
there is, I mean, that aspect also few of the students shared with me. Can we come
right.
back and write UGC geography net exam?
No.
I think that is not possible.
Yeah, that's not possible. That is why we have been advising students to do, masters, and then they go for diversifying themselves into
Diversity.
various.
But I
Because
think
that.
it's a choice. I mean, if we are good at the skill sets that is required, I mean, during the bachelor's time, if we can acquire that skill set and look for this, there are various international agencies working in this field. Like right now, there are agencies like people go for UNDP.
Right.
There are such kind of UN related several organizations are there, but we have to be very well focused that way in terms of acquiring the skills.
Right. So what I understood from your talk and this explanation of career and higher prospects, that geographers can actually make change, apply this nudge theory actually utilize this nudge theory to bring more people onto public transportation or any kind of placemaking that can be done. Right. So if I'm wrong, please correct me. Right.
No, absolutely. Because we have already a multidisciplinary nature that is ingrained in our course, and we have applications of behavioral side also coming into our discussions in the syllabus. So they are that window is open to them. So rest is how we collect rest of the information post course and work with them.
Yes. Right. Anyway, I think there are no more questions, so we can. I hope we can conclude. And let me personally thank you for taking your time out today and presenting a wonderful concept. And possibly, let's look at the way that people might take. There are postgraduate students here who are and graduate students here. So they may take such kind of initiatives as their projects to study a local area and maybe assist the local administration and all in the form of a project or a plan, etc. So that's the basic idea of this webinar itself, to expose them to lots of new things, right, that is happening across India and the world, and to bring them into interdisciplinary kind of research activity as such. Right. Anyway, thank you very much. I'll get back to you on email or WhatsApp, etc. Let me ask. Let me request one of my students to give you a formal vote of thanks. Aishwarya, if you are there.
Sir.
Yeah, please go ahead. Sorry, Ashwati, right.
Good evening to all. We have been listening to a very enlightening talk on the role of nudge theory in the post-pandemic public transport by Mr. Paulos and Kuriakos, Assistant Professor, Department of Urban and Regional Planning, School of Planning and Architecture, Bhopal. It's an honor and privilege to offer him the vote of thanks. Sir, your presentation has given us an insight into the broader aspects of public transportation, benefits and change in the public transportation, external cost of urban transport, nudge theory, and the theory of planned behavior. Sir, let me take this opportunity to thank you on the behalf of the Department of Geography for sparing your time from a busy schedule and introducing this topic. Thank you, sir. Let me also extend my sincere thanks to all the faculty members of the Department of Geography and all the students of the department for actively participating in the session. Thank you all. I extend my sincere thanks to the research scholars and project staffs of the department and faculty members and students of other colleges, institutions for their participation. Thank you once again to one and all. With this, the webinar comes to an end. All can now exit the session. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you so much, sir, for the opportunity. And I would say that if anybody would like to have a discussion on the course or possibilities of doing masters or anything related to other research topics, I will be available. I mean, you can share my details with the students, interested students.
Yeah,
And,
yeah,
thank
surely.
you all for joining
Surely,
today.
right. Maybe if you can share your email ID on the chat box, then maybe in case someone is interested, they can contact you directly as well, because there are participants from across India. So someone, faculty members are also there. So just post your this one.
We'll share it with you, and then I think it would be better if you can share
Yeah.
with the interested students.
No problem.
That
No
would be
problem.
great.
Right.
Okay.
Okay. Right. So
Thank
feedback
you.
form is posted for all the participants, so they can update their feedback, and it will be posted on the WhatsApp group as well, right? So that you can post it there as well, for your comments, as well as anything you want to specially convey to the speaker. Also, you can do that. Okay. Thank you then. Right.
Thank you then.
Get back to you.
Bye.
Right. Bye.